I am Mary Magdalene, and I come to you today to talk about power. Power and powerlessness are huge for every human being. And each one of you, including myself, when I was walking in my physical lifetime, I have come across this energy, this thing called power and powerlessness. For each and every human being feels both sides in relation to some things. Each one of you feel powerful, and in relation to other things, you experience powerlessness. Now, powerlessness is very, very challenging, hard to feel because it is such an uncomfortable emotion. It is so uncomfortable to feel that. And so, especially through your younger years as a child, you choose to survive. You choose to not feel the powerlessness or those events that have happened and made you feel powerless. You put deep in your unconscious, and yet they have a big effect on your life, as you know. And yet this mass consciousness also includes many, many experiences to do with power and powerlessness. So many people are feeling powerless in the face of what they perceive to be so much things that they perceive to be so much grander than themselves. That could be institutions, can be other people. Perhaps it is body and diseases. There are many, many things with which you can feel powerless in a relationship to those things. And yet there is a way out of this feeling powerful and powerless, for they do go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. For many humans think that, if only they can be the top dog, if they can feel on the top, and they pursue all these things that they believe will give them that power. And for sure it does, for in the physical world, power is very tangible, and being powerless is also very tangible. There are very, very definite experience to do with that. When you see the demonstration of power and powerlessness, perhaps you have experienced when authorities have power to detain you. There is a very, very real, physical, tangible experience to do with power and powerlessness. And so as you wake up and as you go through all of those integrations and things, you inevitably come to integrate these things to do with power and powerlessness. And perhaps deep in the dead of night, that you come to a place where you feel safe with your soul, safe to allow the parts that felt powerless to come to you, to come home, and you welcome them home. And that means that for a very short while, you do feel how that part of you, that aspect of you felt that incredible powerlessness in the face of what seemed like outside forces. And can be very uncomfortable. And then you go on to to have other experiences to do with this. And you perhaps something haunts you, some event that keeps coming up over and over and over in your life, against which you feel powerless against. Perhaps that happens at your job to do with the boss. Or perhaps that is just simply survival, not being able to leave things and you make yourself do things that you don't enjoy doing because you feel powerless in the face of survival unless you follow the protocols, the rules, things that your mind thinks will bring you the survival, the abundance, the money to pay the bills, all sorts of things. And as you keep integrating and you keep integrating your soul, more and more you come to a place where there comes that moment within that day, within a particular day, where you realize that you are powerful. That thing that scared you, that feeling, that emotion, that person, you realize no longer has any power over you. So what has happened? The change has happened within you. And that's why all these huge changes need to happen for it to have an effect on your outside world. For otherwise, you know that you will continue to meet those kind of conditions unless you resolve them within me. And you come to the understanding, you come to the awareness, how the powerful and the powerless, they both live within you. They are the spaces within you. They are definite rooms within you that have those feelings to do with that. And as you own both sides, as you own the powerful and the powerless within you, they integrate. They come into the balance, they release, they move on through you. And so then the next stage appears before you to play with. For majority of people, well, for all people that are playing within the mass consciousness, that are stuck within the mass consciousness, even to come to this place of no longer having something have this power over them. And it's a very strong, very defined, very definite experience to experience this within you. You will know it when you experience it. So for majority of people, even that is unreachable. It takes incredible amount of awareness, and words fail me here, but you know what I mean. It takes consciousness, a lot of consciousness to be present to even come to this place where you can see power and powerless, where you can perceive them as spaces within you, spaces that you can resolve, that you can melt, that you can integrate, that you can set free. And that's when you then step out of this game of power. And then you realize that nothing outside of you has no power over you. And there are a number of things that disappear with that. Fear is one of those things. For when you have no longer anything that is overpowering you, what can you fear? There is nothing to fear in that space. And so, of course, then you realize how life, how consciousness, how your soul is without any power. And I don't mean here, it's a different sense than being powerless. It just means that this energy doesn't exist. The more you allow your soul, the less you need this thing called powerlessness. Because within the consciousness, it doesn't exist. And so when you come into this space of you and you are in the space of incredible mastery. And I would like to ask you, I would like to invite you to feel celebration for yourself, for coming, for allowing this, for realizing this, for allowing the consciousness, your consciousness, to be present within you as you, so that you can have this kind of experiences, this kind of insights, so that you can step out of this huge game that is powerless game that is playing in this world. For then when you step out of it, when you're outside of it, you can look in, you can look at it. It almost looks ridiculous, does it not? Because you step out of it and you are in your sovereign space. And this is why So many that are still trapped, or when you were trapped within the mass consciousness, it is why you wanted to feel powerful. Because when you feel powerful, it imitated that feeling of you being a sovereign being within your sovereign energy, within the oneness of your being. You see, in your sovereign domain, there is no need for such things as power and powerless. When you are a master, when you are a master of your own domain, a king and a queen in your own free domain, there is no use for such things. So there is this yearning in people before they reach this place, so to speak, because unconsciously somewhere they know that such a place exists, such a place of feeling safe, such a place of feeling perhaps in control, but control is not, of course, anything that you are or you be when you are in your sovereign space. You are completely out of control, because control, again, is the part of the mass consciousness. But again, that control mimics that feeling. You see, within the mass consciousness, within the world that the mind has created, things mimic the real way, the real being. When you are in your soul, when you are as your soul, as your consciousness, when you realize that all is your energy, you see there is this feeling very similar when it feels like when you're in control, but you're not really, because there is in this space no need for such things, because you are completely safe. You are completely feeling yourself as creator, a creator that is free to choose. This incredible freedom to be you, to choose, and to know with absolute certainty deep within you that what you choose is. You see, this is what people that are still caught in the mass consciousness, somewhere deep within them know that it is real, that it exists, this way of being. And yet the only things that they have is cheap imitations, imitations like control, imitations like feeling powerful, and so, of course, powerless. All the things that you see within the mass consciousness mimic the real thing. And yet when you know the real thing, you cannot ever mistake the mimic as being the truth, as being real. And in that space of your freedom, in that space of your sovereignty, you can be gentle, you can be sacred, you can be divine, you can allow these fine, subtle energies of such beauty, of such gentleness, of such sacredness to fill you. For there is nothing to fear. There is nothing to resolve. There is only but being, the being of joy, the being you, whole, satisfied, and yet excited to keep experiencing more and more of who you are. And in this space, you also allow this merging, this sacred marriage of masculine and feminine. And they become one as one. And from this space too, you move out into oneness of you, into incredible multiple oneness of you. And you can hear this song, this incredible song that is dancing, that is singing, that is flowing through you, because you're allowing this fine, subtle, incredible, life-giving energies, feelings, experiences to flow through you freely. For you are out of those harshness games of power, powerlessness. You are out of control, or being out of control. You are beyond all of these things. And I invite you to play with this, to allow this each day. Each day, remember to take those few deep breaths. Remember to step away from it all, even for a few minutes, and play with these energies. And then see the incredible changes that happen within your life. For those that choose changes, for some, I know you already are floating as if on cloud 9, but in reality, you are very, very earthly, as never before, embodied, connected, alive. And I leave you here in this way. Until next time, thank you.